Now we're going to go ahead and download then install Visual Studio Code. Visual Studio Code is a cross-platform compatible lightweight code editor. Now you might be asking, why do we need a code editor? That's a good question. After we get the .NET Core SDK, we can basically start developing using command line or Notepad. However, why not make our lives easier and use a tool that can make code writing much more convenient? Now, Visual Studio Code does exactly that. It is not as bloated as Visual Studio, yet still is very powerful since it allows for code suggestions, syntax highlighting, and debugging. Visual Studio Code has extensions which allow it to stay compact so that individuals can download extra functionality as they wish for their specific projects. I just wanted to explain my thought process so that you are not just blindly following what I'm doing, but you understand the logic behind it. Now let's go ahead and download, then install Visual Studio Code. So go to Google, type in Visual Studio Code, click Google search. First link right here, click on that. And you have options that you can download for Mac OS or Linux. I will be downloading it for Windows. So download for Windows. Let it download fully, and then go ahead and open it up once it's done. Here we go. So now installation is actually very simple. So click Next, accept the agreement, click Next, choose the folder for your installation, click Next, Next. I will say create a desktop icon, though it's optional. Click Next. And then install. Give it a few seconds and you should be good to go. Alright, it's all set. Launch Visual Studio Code. Click Finish. And here we go. This is Visual Studio Code. I will quickly go over the layout to show you where everything is, and then we will set up our initial project where we will be writing code. So let's start from here. This is the Explorer. This is where you will see the project assets, your folders and files. Here is the search where you can search for project assets. This is source control. We won't be using this in our course. Next coming up is debug. This is where we can debug our application, see local variables, watch any local variables, and look at the call stack. And lastly, this is where we can add extensions from the marketplace and extend the functionality of Visual Studio Code. As you can see, I've already have one installed from the previous run, but we will install the C# plugin together once again, so don't worry about it. So in order to do that, all you need to do is type in C# and then click on the one that's by OmniSharp and click install. Give it a few seconds. All right, click reload, and you should be all set. As you can see, it's enabled and it's installed on Visual Studio Code. Now let's go ahead and set up a quick project. And for that, we will be using one of the tools included in the .NET Core SDK. So remember how I said that .NET Core SDK is .NET Core plus other stuff? Let's go over that other stuff. So .NET Core SDK contains three components. The .NET Core command line tools that are used to build applications, the .NET Core itself, remember the libraries written by other people so we can use them, and then the .NET driver for running the CLI commands as well as running applications. Now, in order to create our new console application, we're going to use the CLI commands. Let's go to the Explorer, then let's open folder. I will create new and call OOP. Select that folder, and here we go. Now, come down here into the terminal, which you can toggle on and off by pressing Control-Tick. So if you press Control-Tick, it will hide, and it will come back if you press it again. Here, type in .NET new console. Press enter. See, it created a simple console project, and also restored all of the dependencies using .NET Restore right here. You can also run .NET Restore separately to restore any of the dependencies, but that is out of the scope of our course. In one word, Restore just gets the code from the web and puts it in your local folder, to put it simply. This code being some more libraries written by other people that we can use. That is all. Then, if you want to run the project, go ahead and type in .NET Run. .NET Run. And as you can see, it says hello world. And that is our application. Very simple. Just prints to the console saying hello world. We can also debug our application. So go to the debug panel and click on add configuration. Here we go. By the way, if there's a pop-up saying required assets to build and debug are missing from OOP, add them. Just say not now, because we'll be adding that manually. Here, it says no configuration. Just click on that, say add configuration, then click .NET Core, and here we go. This is only one-time setup, and all this does is tell Visual Studio Code how to debug our .NET Core console application. Okay, so close this and come over here. What we're doing is we're breakpointing on a line that we want it to stop at. And what it's going to do is during the debug, it's going to come to that line, stop, and then tell us the exact state that we're in. So show us any local variables or anything else that we want, or have rather, on this page that we see. So click Start Debugging. And as you can see, it stopped right here. We can see any locals, and we can step over, step into, step out. All we're going to do is step over. As you can see, it printed hello world, and then we will continue. Okay, that's all. Now we have downloaded .NET Core SDK. We have installed it. We have also installed Visual Studio Code. We've set it up, and we've set up our initial project. Next, we will be learning about OOP, why we use it and what it is and the basics. And then right after that, we will be jumping right into and learning about the 4 main pillars of object-oriented programming via simple examples. And at the end, we will put it together in an app to tie it all together.